Donald Trump's return to the political stage with the wind at his back and a fresh mandate from the American voters, not least defined with the huge Republican wins as well in the House. This is a sweeping change. It's emblematic of both Trump's resilience and the disarray within the Democratic Party. His victory, punctuated by a celebratory acceptance speech and endorsements from cultural figures like Joe Rogan, Megyn Kelly, signals not only a triumph of personality but a deeper cultural reckoning. Trump, often seen as the embodiment of audacious self-invention, embodies the paradox of American leadership, a blend of P.T. Barnum's showmanship and a relentless, albeit flawed, determination that resonates with many who feel alienated by elite institutions, who feel frustrated by the way those institutions are managed and interface with the public. We live in a world where frustration is that is our way of life now. And we shouldn't be surprised if that frustration erupts in a flick of the finger towards the establishment with Brexit, with Trump or whatever. I think these are just the beginnings of the frustration that people feel. It's foolish, but it's there. And critically examining Trump's return requires an understanding both of the state of his opposition and of his plans. For Democrats, the 2024 loss epitomizes a profound failure to connect with a restless electorate weary of stagnation and entranced bureaucratic overreach. And they're right. Barack Obama, once seen as the unifying force and the architect of a more progressive America, is now depicted as the silent puppeteer of a shadow presidency, wielding influence but shielded from accountability. And this covert leadership, exemplified by his continued presence in Washington and support for Kamala Harris over a visibly declining Joe Biden, eroded trust. By sidelining Biden, Obama arguably has dismantled the very facade of transparency and unity that kept critics at bay. Biden now enters the dotage of his premiership, this crypto premiership, with Trump in the shadows. If Biden really wanted to play an ace card, he would resign now and Kamala would become president for a couple of months. That would really put the cat among the pigeon coop. Obama's legacy, once bolstered by landmark policies, soaring rhetoric, now grapples with the stark reality of a Democrat Party that has alienated segments of its historic past, that has destroyed its base, to use Trump language. His critics suggest that post-presidential tenure not only prolonged partisan fractures, but may have contributed to the conditions for Trump's resurgence. The irony lies in the fact that the very resistance that sought to counter Trump's populism reinforced a sense of elite detachment and moral certitude that many Americans found intolerable. As such, Obama's influence, which once commanded respect and hope, became a symbol of unaccountable power and systemic rigidity. Had his wife stood, maybe there would have been more honesty and more chance of success. But she didn't want to. Trump, whose speeches now meander with less of the venomous flair of 2016, still represents a seismic shift. His promises, still swift legislative actions, sweeping tax reforms, bolder policies, suggest that his administration will not simply echo past battles but aim for structural changes with potentially long-lasting impact. His overt embrace of figures like Elon Musk, once a Democrat, underscores a vision of governance intertwined with high-profile personalities and a Silicon Valley ethos that promises innovation but often blurs the line between progress and disruption. Trump's declared golden age is a rebuke to the carefully constructed narratives of stability offered by Washington insiders. Yet skepticism persists. His allies plan to circumvent bureaucratic resistance by appointing loyalists en masse to federal agencies who raise questions about governance and institutional integrity. The very essence of Project 2025, viewed by some as a strategic roadmap, others as a fantasy, evokes both ambition and the spectre of authoritarian overreach. But 2025, Project 2025, is now here. The Democratic Party's introspection, or lack thereof, following this defeat will determine its future relevance. The post-Obama Democrats are depicted not as heirs to Roosevelt's coalition of the working and middle classes, but as purveyors of technocratic solutions that often ignore the lived experiences of the broader populace. Their entanglement with elite universities, identity-driven policies, complex alliances with Silicon Valley reflect a departure from the economic and the social commitments that once defined them. So as Trump prepares to assume office once again, critics and supporters alike recognize that America's inherent volatility remains its most defining characteristic. What will his inauguration be like? Will it be another example of a massive turnout, even more massive than the one he claimed at the last time, which was slightly defied by the television coverage? The country's legacy of creative destruction, described by Schumpeter, suggests that no elite, whether embodied by Wall Street Democrats or populist Republicans, can hold the reins indefinitely. For all of Trump's rhetoric and Obama's manoeuvring, the underlying lessons remain. America's strength and unpredictability lie in its capacity for reinvention, a trait that defies any permanent political or cultural control. Whether Trump's second term ushers in the prosperity and the stability he promises, or deepens the divisions and the disarray that many opponents expect, remains a critical and uncertain chapter in the American story. And how this plays out on the world stage, we wait to see. But we wait in fear more than in hope.